Right.
There we go. All right, I'll start over again because we just started recording. And I'll say that welcome to the community update for Mountain Sage Community School and the Board of Directors here. We will be covering, for those of you who are also joining us, the following topics. If you have any comments or questions that go along with these topics, please add those at the time that we're covering them so that we can answer your questions during that block of time. We want to keep it a little bit organic, but we also want to make sure that we cover everything. So if we don't get to it, we'll try to answer your question after the meeting and in the future. So appreciate that. And with that said, and I was just explaining that at the beginning of every board meeting, we read our mission, and the purpose of that is to really ground us into why we're all here and why we're serving on the board. So I wanted to ask the board if there was any volunteer for reading the mission.
I'd like to read the mission.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen.
Mountain Sage Community School offers Waldorf-inspired, arts-integrated education, fully incorporating sustainable living practices into student learning. Each child is empowered to cultivate meaningful connections to their intellectual, physical, emotional, social, and creative capacities in healthy, safe, and beautiful learning environments. Through a supportive community of peers, parents, and teachers, each child will become a confident, self-directed, and engaged learner invested in their own education.
That was like a rookie Zoom mistake right there. Start talking without unmuting myself. A little bit about us. The board, this picture was taken back in June. So this is right after a strategic planning session that we have, our board retreats, as we call them. And as you can see, we're going to introduce everybody, but we're missing somebody, and you're going to get an introduction to a new board member tonight. So Troy, you're going to have an opportunity to introduce yourself, and we'll add your face to this picture soon. So what do we do? Obviously, we're volunteers. We're not getting paid by the school or for our time or any of that. We're here because we care. We come from a lot of different backgrounds, love the school, and definitely support the mission and the vision of what was put together over 10 years ago. We are also a governance board, which may be different from private Waldorf schools or other schools in this category, where there's a lot more of operations that are handled by a board. We take a step back from there. We look at long-term strategy and overall governance and try to keep things in check. So that's really what we do, and we meet twice a month. We've tried the once a month to get all the work done in one night, and it ends up being a really late night. But we do what we call kind of planning sessions or meetings once a month that end up setting us up for the business meetings where decisions and votes are made, and they're all public meetings, but those are the ones where stuff gets done. We have strategic planning sessions twice a year. Those are in June and then September. We cover policies, budgets, facilities, everything up on the screen. So there's quite a bit that we cover from a high level, and all of that gets filtered down into the daily life of the school. So who are we? Me, I'm Brian Kimball. I'm the current president of the board. I do have twins that have gone there since first grade. They're in Miss Wixon's fifth grade class now. I've been the board treasurer since the 2021 school year, and due to certain circumstances, I'm now the board president as well. Not for long, so I don't plan on holding on to both of those positions, but hopefully with some of the new incoming board members, we'll be able to hand off some of those duties. So Jen, passing the conch to you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jen Ralt, and this is my second year on the board, and I've been serving as vice president this year. And I have two children, neither of whom are currently at the school, but that does not interrupt my, enjoyment in my connection to the community and my support of this amazing place. So I'm happy to be here working with these board members and in community with all of you.
Hi, you guys. I'm Stephanie. My son Finn is in Miss Glazer's second grade class. I've been after Waldorf for a few decades, but the reason that we ended up moving down to Fort Collins was because we saw Mountain Sage and kind of fell in love with the school. This will be the last year of my elected term. While I'm acting as secretary just for the last year, I'll be done in June.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris West. I have two kids at Mountain Sage. One's in second grade and one's in fourth grade. And this is my second year on my 3-year term. I connected to Waldorf via Riversong. That's how I got my introduction into the Waldorf philosophy. I have served on the facilities committee as well as the school accountability committee. And I'm currently helping our development fundraising committee.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mackenzie Mushel, and this is my first year serving on the board. And my daughter is a first grade student in the Forest School Homeschool Enrichment Program. Go Forest School. We were drawn to Mountain Sage after my years of teaching and finding the school seemed to be the place for us, with just the combination of commitment to the community and the whole child. And Forest School has just been nothing but magic for my daughter, and we love watching all of the families and the students grow at Mountain Sage. I'm currently serving as the board chair for the School Accountability Committee and on Governance Committee.
Hey everyone, I am Troy. I was appointed to the board in December. I've been hanging out at the board meetings this school year, and excited to jump in and use a little bit of the flexibility in my schedule to help out. I have a son in first grade, and my wife is fifth grade, one of the fifth grade teachers this year. So excited to jump in and help out. And right now, that help's headed focused in the governance committee and the SAC committee.
All right, thank you, everybody. I'd see no questions coming up yet. No questions on any of the people on the board, at least. And then, of course, who you noticed and we talked about really quickly, Meister Catol, who is an Espanol teacher. She serves as the faculty liaison, and Liv Helmerks as the school director, both also on the board. Okay, so we've covered the board introductions. Now we're going to jump right into the state of the school and the meat of the presentation. So finance, facilities, academics, community circle, and governance. If you have questions about any of these, please drop them in the chat, and we will try to cover them each individual subject at a time. So not all at once, the Q&A at the end. We'll try to just keep this as a conversation. And since I'm currently also the serving treasurer, so I'll present on the finances. In the last few years, what I like to do is just make a lot of visuals, because nobody likes to see numbers and spreadsheets, and graphs are so much more fun, I think, especially good graphs that go up. So here you can see kind of how we spend our money. You can see the big buckets of things, salaries, and this is salary specific to the teachers, and this accounts for over 50% of the entire school budget. And then the rest are student support services, benefits, operations, maintenance of our facility, etc. So you can see how kind of the bigger buckets and everything, and how it kind of lays out. I'll go into a little bit more detail here in a second. But our total revenues are even more narrowed down. So we get 89% of revenue from the local being PPR. So our PPR is per pupil revenue that's sent from the state. So we get, that's directly tied to our student count, and is obviously very important for us. If we lose one student, we lose a significant amount of revenue, and that affects the way that we can operate our programs. So how do those two compare? Well, as you can see, as revenues go up, actually so do expenses. And I have a comparison for student count as well, and you can see how those kind of correlate. But year over year from last year, our expenses are up 6.03%, and our revenues are up. Luckily, a tiny fraction higher than our expenses, so 6.06%, which just keeps us in the black. Revenues versus enrollment, you can see that our enrollment has grown over the years, and there are a couple of years there during the pandemic and you know, worldwide issues that affected enrollment globally. But we've been able to somewhat recover from that, and we're almost back up to our pre-pandemic enrollment number, and just off by like a half of a student. And the half students, just for reference, there's a calculation for homeschool, enrichment, kindergarten, and full-time students. And so all of that combines tells us that we have 298.32 full-time equivalent students that attend, and that's what we get our PPR from. So you can see how all of that correlates. Looks like there's a duplicate. So the key takeaway is that we're actually in a pretty strong position. We've been maintaining, thin margins, but are in a strong position where expenses continue to go up regardless of enrollment. So enrollment, we could even lose enrollment, but our expenses still go up regardless of the number of students, because benefits go up, salaries have to go up, things happen, and expenses are growing. So enrollment, it's really important for enrollment to go up as well. As a charter school, PPR meets most of our needs, not all of our needs. Charter schools are public schools, but they do not have the same kind of finances as other public schools in the district. We do have to pay for our building, for our teachers, not just salaries, but also their benefits, which are significant, as you saw, piece of the budget. So, fundamentally, every student counts. They count in more ways than one. Obviously, we love every student in our community, and they're not just numbers on a spreadsheet or numbers here. They are a lot more than that to us, and we do not like to lose anyone. So we're hoping that as we grow, that our community grows with us, and that you all bring your friends, and we can grow into a 2-track school, which we'll cover in the facilities update here shortly. I do not see any questions in the chat, so if you have any, drop them in there. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the facilities update. And Chris, your audio seems to be working, so we're going to... Are you good to cover this?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
Hello again, I'm Chris, and I was the chair of the facilities. And so we are, like Brian said, a chartered school, and we have chartered as a 2-track school. This is the second time we've had to apply for our charter. They're every 5 years. And what does 2-track mean? And this is a word that will happen throughout PSD as well as other schools. Basically, if your child has a classroom teacher in grade 2, second grade, and there's another teacher in second grade, that's the word they use is 2-track. So currently at Mountain Sage, we have 3 grade levels that are 2-track, and they are in 2nd, 5th, and 7th grade. And so next year they would all just move up. But as the students move up, we have no more room. So the building is actually maxed to capacity, and we don't have any ability to add any more classrooms, but we would like to. Go to the next slide. Yep. So for those who were not here at the last community update, we purchased our building. We used to lease it. We purchased it back in April 2022, and we needed a bond. That's how we get the money to purchase the building. And so we had a bond to purchase the building, and then also a bond to expand. We tried to expand our building. We tried to relocate to another location, and those did not come to fruition. So we ended our search for expansion of Mountain Sage in the summer. And one of those reasons is the playground. When we purchased the building, we were unable to, not that we didn't want to, we were unable to purchase the playground and the garden. So everything to the east of the building is a lease program right now. And the current owners will not offer a purchase as of right now. So that's where we stand. We're hoping to re-energize the facilities committee. And with our new board members coming on board, we'll luckily have some people running that spot.
Thank you, Chris. That was great. No questions there. So you did a great job of recapping that. On to academics, or an academic overview with the School Accountability Committee.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. I'm Mackenzie again, and I am the board chair for the School Accountability Committee, but by no means am I the expert. It takes a great team, and this year we have enlivened our group, and it's very exciting to have a community response like we have had, and we call to action several times for the School Accountability Committee. So thank you all so much. The School Accountability Committee, the state of Colorado requires all schools to have a School Accountability Committee, and we're made up of parents and staff, and at times community members, to offer the guidance for administration around academic action plans, sometimes budget priorities, safety issues, school culture, those pieces. And although the SAC presents recommendations to school leadership and such, it's ultimately school administrators who make the decisions and are responsible for the accountability to make those decisions. So Mountain Sage, given our governance board as a charter, the School Accountability also serves as an advisory committee for the board to help the board with some of those decisions. Big key points with the School Accountability Committee, we use the School Performance Framework, or the SPF, to develop a unified improvement plan. Lots of acronyms and things here. If you would like to dig more into the actual reports, they're linked here, as well as just if you search School Accountability on the Mountain Sage website, you can come to our page and it's all organized right there for you. But the big piece with our School Performance Framework, which is very exciting, is that we've been able to maintain the highest rating for a public school charter, which is a performance rating as a school performance level, which means we're hitting the benchmarks that we need to be hitting. But as a great school that we are, we're looking for ways to improve as well. So based on that information from the School Performance Framework that CDE provides, the school has developed a unified improvement plan, which is an annual plan that helps guide efforts towards improving instruction, improving student achievement, and supporting our teachers. And that is also linked here. A big piece that is targeted this year, or the main focus this year for the UIP, continuing to target middle school math improvement. So we're seeing a lot of academic supports improving, teacher professional development for the teachers, and then really structuring more collaboration time in and mentoring of the middle school teachers, specifically targeting math. Ongoing, always looking to continue to develop the K-3 literacy programming at Mountain Sage. We've met our previous targets for reading benchmarks, which is extremely exciting. but always looking to find that balance between our Waldorf-inspired curriculum and the Colorado academic standards in literacy and early literacy skills and competencies. We can move to the next slide, Brian. Looking at academics, I'll continue here. We can't thank you all enough for continuing to participate in our assessments because they are what we use, one of the tools we use to maintain our charter and to remain accredited. It's not the only piece that we use. Understanding state testing data looks at a snapshot in time, but it's a valuable piece to help us continue to operate. We work hard at Mountain Sage to build a supportive, positive culture around assessment for students so that they can strengthen their capacity for test taking and feel good during those times. We have this spring coming up, we have the MAPS testing and CMAS testing. Obviously, again, participation is important to help us maintain our accreditation and be able to operate as a school. And then also with our Gifted and Talented program, you'll see the COGAT, the Cognitive Abilities Test within the second grade level this year, and it's designed to measure the child's level and pattern of cognitive development. We're talking general reasoning skills that develop, as well as identified gifted abilities. So you'll see those pieces coming through in the spring, and questions about that you can send towards school accountability, your classroom teacher, those pieces. And then last, I wanted to highlight the good work of all of our team. Thank you again for helping this committee work together to move the school forward. The piece you just saw with I come out from the School Accountability Committee is a beautiful piece of work looking at assessing our results from last year's community survey. Thank you all so much for great participation in that. So the survey results from last year, we were able to get out before this update. So check Parent Square for that, as well as the School Accountability page, which is a snapshot here on this slide. It's all linked in there, the results page. And then we have a progress report, which is a companion document that goes along with those results to help us all understand where we are, things that were identified in that survey and your feedback, the progress that is being done in those areas and where we need to continue to work. And then definitely keep an eye out before spring break. We'll be sending out another community survey and hoping that this year our timeline for getting those results and this information not only to our community but to our staff members is earlier than it was this last year with a larger working group. And feel free to come to our next meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Kenzie. There was a question from Eric, and this, I guess, could go to any member of the board. With COVID having a negative impact on student growth and performance pretty much at schools everywhere, have things returned to normal, or is that still a work in progress? I suppose we can put this in context of our school and the performance rating.
I can speak to that. I would definitely say that it's still a work in progress. Things have, of course, begun to stabilize, but the effort to meet individual student needs is ongoing and daily. But things have begun to stabilize.
Okay. And thank you, Gail, for your comment. We can't really, I don't see a question in there, so we're gonna really comment on that. It's there's an idea that was presented, but if you have a specific question, I'd love to answer that. Otherwise, oh, you see, there you go. Sorry, Mackenzie, you had another slide and you spoke to it very well without me forwarding the slide, but there's a little screenshot of exactly where to look on the School Accountability Committee's page on the website and where to go for the community survey results. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Mm-hmm. Okay, community circle. I'm not going to skip over that too fast here. Now, Liv, do you want to speak to this as well?
I can briefly. I don't want to put any of our community circle liaisons on the spot unless they feel like they want to chime in, because I see a couple folks are here. But we're really lucky to have 3 community circle liaisons: Andy Brinson Williams, Jackie Teal, and Juliana Whitney. And they are working as a team to reinvigorate, in partnership with, you know, us on the operational team, the community circle, which during COVID became largely kind of a parent education morning, which it still is. But, you know, now that recovery from COVID is truly happening, the desire for more parent leadership and involvement is happening. And the main avenue for that is through community circles. So we're really lucky to have this team of people working together to bring some great things to parents and to offer some new opportunities for parents to get involved in different parent-led committees, as those are kind of getting off the ground. Is there anything, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but does anyone else, do our community circle liaisons want to add anything to that? You can just throw in the chat.
If thinking about it, I can thank them for their work as well, and then say that it's been very helpful to have then a voice of the parents that comes to a there's a small group of us who set sort of the agenda, and we talk about what can be brought in front of the board, and having a parent voice in that has been really great. Even though we're all parents on the board, there's a lot that we cover within our meetings, and a lot of that gets really focused on the business at hand, and there's great perspectives that come into play from the community circle. And we're just I'm just personally very thankful that we now have that voice.
Yeah, and I would say, so just to kind of finish going through the slide, the community circle meetings are held on Friday mornings, because that's when we as a school have the ability to host that in our space. But we used the survey results. We surveyed the school community at the beginning of this school year to learn a little bit more about what parents were hoping community circle could become. And we know that it's tough to find a day that works for everyone. And so the effort to try to get community circle parent-led committees off the ground, that's really wide open right now. So if you're not able to join community circle on Fridays, there's a couple options. You can now Zoom in and listen if you're just curious, but you can't make the meeting and maybe have time to listen. And then you can contact our parent circle liaisons through the Parent Square app, or join the community circle app through our group through Parent Square. And the idea with the committees, which there's more information on our website about this, is those committees can happen anytime that there's a new opportunity for parents to become involved at times that work for them through parent-led committees connected to community circle. So we're trying to kind of meet the different needs through a couple different ways this year. Yeah, maybe I've said everything that was on the slide, but not in the exact order. Anything anybody else wants to add?
I think that was it. There were just some questions. There's still a desire by many to participate, but can't make it on Friday, and that's been echoed by a couple of people. So
yeah,
so that's good. Yeah, it is unfortunate that that's the time of the meeting, but if there aren't any other questions, we're going to move to governance. And did you want to speak to this, Jen? Are you good?
Sure, yeah. So the one priority not on this slide that governance has really been working on this year is streamlining our communication system, just so that we have more opportunities and more fluid communication between the board and the community at large. And that's something that we'll continue to be working on. And then we're really excited this year that there's a really robust response to upcoming board participation. So as we introduced Troy Wixon, we appointed Troy, and he has begun working with the board. We've got several more candidates excited about our upcoming election, which will be in April. So please, we will be communicating with you guys and letting you know the details of the election. So please be on the lookout for those communications. Your vote is valued. And of course, please contact the board. You can contact us directly. Our emails are all on the website, our direct emails and our general board email. Contact us with any questions throughout the year about specific topics or general questions, and let us help figure out ways for you to connect to volunteer opportunities that are calling you. I think that's all. Oh, thank you. Thank you for this next one. Yeah. So requirements for joining the board are to become a verified volunteer at the school, attend 3 meetings prior to the election. And of course, this all starts with a willingness and a call to serve the community in this way. So reach out if you have any questions. Right now, we definitely have need for a treasurer, as Brian was saying. He's wearing a couple of hats right now. And we do have some people who have expressed interest in that direction. Stephanie, who's our secretary, will be finishing her tenure this year. So if that's sort of a skill set that rings a bell for you, reach out. And our development, as Chris was saying, we're really looking to invigorate that committee. And so, if you have experience or skills in those directions, please reach out. And also, if you don't know that you have a specific skill or talent or set of experiences, don't let that stop you. If you feel the call, just let us know, and we'll answer any questions.
I did want to jump back because Aurora had a follow-up question on Gail's comment. So we can't speak to very specific scenarios and what's possible or not at this point. It's always interesting to hear different ideas on how to solve for the issues that we currently have with space and finances and fundraising. And the best way to get those ideas worked through in a committee is to bring them to that committee. And the facilities committee is one of those that we're reinvigorating. We are trying to work out what our current situation is and how that plays into our student count. Something as deep as going into the scenario that Gail outlined could overlap in a lot of areas, and it may, I'm kind of stumbling because it may actually overlap with our actual charter, and it may not be something that we could do legally because we're chartered for K-8, and eliminating some of those 8 might not actually work out, and we would be failing to uphold our charter and probably not able to renew after the end of this current term. That's my initial reaction, having gone through a lot of different scenarios with the facilities committee and on the finance side for the last 4 years. However, bring all ideas to the committees and let's work them through for feasibility and see what we can do, because yeah, we want to find the most creative solution, but also one that we can fit into the hole that we're stuck in, which is as legally a public charter school. So I hope that answers the question. It doesn't beat around the bush too much. I can't say yes or no that we can or cannot do that, but from my experience and legally going through the charter, and especially the charter renewal process within the last year, I'm pretty familiar with that, and it seems like that would actually not fit or work out.
No, it would constitute a change of the program that would trigger a whole new set of questions and has really big, serious implications for the community potentially if we were to explore that. Hey, Brian, I want to jump in because I was looking through the chat and Andy, one of our community circle liaisons, was up for addressing a couple of the comments related to community circle. Andy, I wonder if you can speak to the questions that were in the chat.
Yes, hi everyone. This is Andy Brunson Williams. I don't know if I can have video or not, and let me just see. Oh, hello. Now you can see my face. Yeah, so I just wanted to say, like, it seemed like most of the questions in the chat were in regard to there being a second community circle meeting in the evenings. We have been using that community survey that went out in November to sort of guide our process of seeing what the community wanted. And through that, we came to 4 different committees: fundraising, adult education, social events, and now, like, my brain went blank on the 4th one. Special events, adult education, socials, and fundraising. Those are our 4. So through one of those, probably the socials or the education piece, we would be creating an evening meeting. That is our goal. Right now, we're trying to get volunteers, engage interest for those committees. We're looking for people to lead those committees. We're looking for people to participate, to help with the work of creating what we would need in order to make that evening meeting possible. So that is definitely our goal, is to try to get as many people as possible to be able to access these kind of events and to be included in these spaces where maybe they can't attend that Friday morning. So we're continuing the Friday morning. We're hoping to add on to some other options. So I hope that helps answer. The best way to get connected right now is to join the in the Parent Square app, to join the community committee. And through there is a sign up for the different committees, and emails are going out. They were going to go out last week. We've had a few more volunteers come in, so we'll be sending those out here this week, and we're excited to get connected and get going. Thanks, and thank you, board and Liv and everyone, for all of your work. It's awesome work you're doing.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. That's great. Just a reminder, this is a general Q&A, so if you have any other questions, please pipe in. There was a lot of details that was sent out in the recent communication that we may or may not have covered here. A lot of it overlapped, but I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to ask any questions about that communication, things that are just happening at the school, and see if we can't answer them for you during this time. So feel free to either unmute and speak up, or so we don't lose it from people talking over each other, throw it in the chat and we'll pull you in. So I don't want to stay here too awkwardly for too long, but we can. And if I don't see any additional questions coming in. Thank you, Gail, for the additional resource in there in reference for the fundraising efforts. That's all. The general information is great, and we can pull that into the fundraising committee. I definitely want to thank everybody, and you can also reach out to the entire board at mountainsageboard.org. That will go to everyone, and we'll make sure that we can get back to you. You can see that also on the governance page. There's additional information there on when the committees are meeting. And thank you, Stephanie, just dropping it in the chat there. And we invite you to participate in any way that you can. If that means participating on a committee or on the board itself, or just showing up for one meeting a year, if that's all you can do, and that's what you want to bring, then we accept it all. So we love your involvement and would love to see if you can participate. Okay, thanks, Colleen. It wasn't obvious to me. Then she just spoke up in the chat and said that she's happy to hear that there are options for evening community circles. Okay, so if there are no other questions about the content that we covered here or general questions for us to fill in, we can give you back the 15 minutes left of the meeting, and hope that everybody has a wonderful evening, and we'll see you around the school.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, Eric.
Oh, yeah. Good to see you guys.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see everybody. Is that next week? Already?
We do, right? Every week.
Like we meet every week.
Next Monday's a holiday.
Yeah. Looks like
No,
we're still
not next Monday.
recording.
Thank you for
Just,
the reminder. Thank you for
yeah.
the.
It looks like we're still recording, just FYI.
Yes, we are. Let me figure out how to stop that real quick without